Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Empower podcast. This is episode 47 with our guest, Dr. Daniel Woodruff. Hello, Daniel.
Hello, Brett. How are you today?
Hey, better than I deserve. Thanks for being here. Can you go ahead and let our viewers here know where it is you're coming to us from?
Yes, I'm speaking to you from snowy Gaylord, Michigan. Now, in Michigan, we do this.
Now, he's holding up his hand. He's holding up his hand, yes.
And then we're right here at the top knuckle joint on your middle finger.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
we're right at the juncture of the Great Lakes.
So my one boss back in college, when I worked as an RA, I did learn this as well. Was it left?
Yes,
You did the left hand, though. Excuse me. Was it left? It is left hand, is it not?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Yes.
So, and then he is here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So
yeah.
He's near Bad Axe and all those.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, and I learned that as a mapping, and it's amazing that that's even a cultural thing we have, at least mainly here in the U.S. I'd be curious if it's elsewhere too. Whole nother conversation. But yes.
But
yeah. So, I wanted to start off here, everybody. If this is your first time with Empower, first, if you can follow, subscribe, share, like. If you're enjoying what it is after upcoming here, we're on all various platforms. We're extending out. We are on Spotify. We are on Apple Podcast, Amazon Music, YouTube. Let's see here, iHeartRadio, Pandora, you name it. And if you have any other ones we haven't, email us. Let us know. We'd love to expand out more. Empower is a podcast run by healthcare professionals and general community healers with goals such as establishing and achieving milestones through a continued commitment of raising transparency and awareness, not alone, but together. We have a current goal, as we have since the onboarding here of Empower, of having legislation passed in the state of Colorado and throughout the whole United States with hopes of the whole world, mandating employers to provide and support employees through employee wellness programs. What can that be? Well, I got 3 parts for you so far. The first part is a minimum of 8 wellness days for all healthcare professionals per quarter. A second is the minimum deposit into an HSA account per quarter that is tax exempt at the federal, state, and local levels. And third is the establishment of a third-party run anti-retaliation department in each health system. At Empower, we continue to believe in the power of community, diversity, and inclusivity to create positive change and foster ways to improve society. We do this through thought-provoking conversations and inspiring stories from voices that often go unheard. We want to do this, again, to raise transparency and promote action towards a more equitable and sustainable healthcare realm throughout the world. Join us as we explore new perspectives, challenge those assumptions that may be out there, and work towards creating a brighter and clearer future for all of us. All right, everyone, it's time to sit back, be yourself no matter what, and get ready to be empowered. All right, Daniel, I wanted to know if we can start off with the community thank you, if you wanted to kick us off with that.
Well, sure. There is so much and so many to be thankful for. What I'm thankful for is for people opening their minds and not accepting the status quo anymore. And that's not easy. That's not easy to say the emperor wears no clothes. And it takes courage, and it takes a steadfastness that is rare. And so when I meet fellow people just like that, I'm very, very appreciative. I'm appreciative of all the opportunities I've ever had through the people that have helped me. Boy, I'm going to quote this. I might get it wrong, but
nothing wrong here. Nothing wrong here.
I can see so far because I stand on the shoulder of giants. And what I have learned and what has been able for me to move on and to innovate and to change this world we live in to move forward have been the greats: Newton, Einstein, Hawking, so many giants. And if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't even be here talking to them. It is the knowledge, it is the wisdom of the ancients that give us the opportunity for the innovation of today. And although I can't thank them personally, I wouldn't be where I am today. Also, for all my family and friends that basically I have robbed time from, I have devoted my life to this technique that I have created. I have spent tens of thousands of hours in research, experimentation, and those hours come at the expense of somebody. And that happens to be my family. But they love me and they support me. And so without them, there would be no way I would be here. And for all the community of people who want to say there's something better, there's got to be a better way, I'm thankful for you, because that is what moves us ahead as a society, as a culture. We are all one.
Absolutely.
And only together do we move ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I've connected with your wife too on social media. I'm cooking in there. I'm touched, moved, and inspired here. I have clear mind, at least at this moment in time. So I'm going to go to what it is I wanted to go to. But it was a quote that even I shared with her. She interacted with too. And it was by Tesla. And it was, "We are all one. Only egos, beliefs, and fears separate us." And it's amazing how those come out and what it looks like, regardless, but what really is the impact of it, and to see what could really come out of it if we were to take those, or at least examine those and move forward instead of standing still in whatever way that comes out too.
Yeah. And here's the thing. What we have to understand is the matrix of which we are in healthcare also pertains to almost everything else in our lives. And there's an ancient Chinese proverb that says, when a strong wind blows, some people will build a wall and others will build a windmill. And those are our approaches to a strong wind. And some see it as a threat to protect against, and others see it as an opportunity to make it better. And it is us who look for that better way that we can move ahead and to help bring along those who might be fearful, who need that wall in their mind to say, it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay.
Yeah. Or even to peek around the wall and see there's a spot for a windmill. Why not?
I like it.
Yeah, why not? Wow. I totally get it. All right. That was a beautiful thank you. And I want to say, even with that overall connection, and the second quote to even send us even more into this awesome episode 47 here. I definitely want to say, and I pick a part of the show where, Brett, does this guest make you feel empowered? And Daniel, you certainly make me feel empowered. Thank you.
Thank you, my friend. Mm-hmm. I appreciate that very much.
Mm-hmm. All right. So we're going to go into the next two juicy questions, and whatever way they come out, they come out. But we're going to start off, if we can, for what is the integrity of healthcare like for you, Daniel?
The integrity of healthcare is right now a system that is in flux. And what happens is, when we judge a system, Brett, we tend to paint with a broad brush. And unfortunately, there's a lot of good people that are in that system that get covered with the paint. If I was to judge Americans based on the politics that are going on now, that would be unfair. The people are separate from the system.
Absolutely.
And so when we look at that, we have to do that with everything.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Yeah. Invite that all as a possibility then. Let that open up. Be unbridled and think about that. Again, we're all one, but yes, there are multiple of us. Wow. Yes. And take that on. To take it on. That's another one too. Wow.
And so what happens is, when we go to want to reform or to improve, unfortunately, with ego and self, we want to defend. Now, whether you have a discipline of healthcare, whether it's medical, physical therapy, chiropractic, acupuncture, for you to become a doctor in that field, you're basically given a packet of information, said, oh, you want to be one of us? Then you have to know all of this. This is what we do. This is how we do it. This is when we do it. And it's sort of like being a fan of a sports team. These are our team colors. This is our fight song. This is what we cheer. This is when we cheer it. Mm-hmm. And any deviation of that makes you stand out. And we have this attitude, if you're not with us, then you're against us. There's no middle room. And never do you see that more than in healthcare. Because we have old existing paradigms that are still here. And so to create change and to create reform, we have to first go off of the basis of there are no personal attacks. There is nothing that is wrong, but there is so much that can be better. And so instead of focusing on what's wrong with healthcare, I choose to say, what can we do to improve it? You see, I almost quit being a chiropractor 10 years ago. I was very dissatisfied with the fact that I would have to see the same people every 2 to 3 weeks. They keep going out of alignment. But before I quit, Brett, I went to a continuing education seminar, and this gentleman was...
Those are always amazing, aren't they? Depending on if... Yeah. When they're funded, too. But keep going. I'm sorry. Keep going. Yeah, keep going. Yeah.
No, you're right. You're right 100% on that.
Yeah.
So it was more of a show and tell thing, Brett. So there'd be people, they couldn't lift their arm. And so he would push on one muscle, twist another one, yank, boom, arm go right up. It was incredible. Never saw anything like it. Now, I've been around the block. I've lived all over the place. You and I share a similarity that we've lived in a town called Wadsworth.
That's right. Ohio. That's where I'm originally from.
Go Grizzlies.
That's it.
But I've been around. And so,
you're beyond a grizzly now, right? You've spoken of even the paradigm shifts. You're beyond a grizzly, though. You have moved on to a different team, and the team is your own, correct? Now? All right. I get it. But you had to have a basis somewhere, and that was something you shared. I get it. Yeah.
So what happens is what this guy, it was a show and tell. And I said, how does this work? And what I appreciate from him, and maybe this is somebody I should have gave thanks to in the beginning, is he said, I don't know. So here this gentleman had this amazing toy that he was playing with, but he didn't understand how to use it. And that started me on a path that I haven't gotten off of yet. I have spent tens of thousands of hours in research and experimentation. And what I found out is that when it comes to chronic musculoskeletal pain, healthcare as a whole, whether it's medical, physical therapy, any of that, they have all dropped the ball. We do not understand chronic pain. And if you want, and if I can make a point on this one, this is very visual.
Nothing wrong here.
But all of us have gone to a doctor, and currently we get to see the results of over 150 to 200 years of modern science research into pain, chronic pain. And this is what we're doing now for it. You go to a doctor's office and they hand you a sheet of paper with a frowny face on one end and a smiley face on the other and some other faces in between. And we say, circle the one that best represents how you feel.
Yep. And how many people scoff and are sick when you even, oh my gosh, I worked in long-term care too. Some of them, they look like you're stupid. They're like, if I were not here, I could go home and take this myself. And they're right. They could. But at the same time, too, it's your due diligence as a provider, and that's what you have to go based off of. That's your tool, right? You spoke of, yeah.
We have no clue of where pain comes from. We really don't. We have no idea where it goes, how it goes. We have no objective device to put on you. Let's say I put something on your shoulder and say, Brett, you're showing 8.2 oogles of pain being generated from the latissimus dorsi muscle and it's traveling down the suprascapular.
Yeah. Or in the left, if we were to split up your stomach into 4 parts, you're having it in that lower left side, and we can see it here on the monitor. Right. Yeah, that's not there. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just guesses, and they're educated guesses. But the problem is now we enter a whole new realm of healthcare letting down people. Here's why. The guy in the white jacket with his name monogrammed on it and the stethoscope around his neck to prove to you that he is the almighty wizard will throw an x-ray up and point out to you some arthritis on the x-ray. And he says, that's what's causing your pain. He has no clue. He has no idea what's causing the pain. That's just degeneration on an x-ray. Now the patient has had their bar lowered by that doctor. Now they go around saying, well, it's good old arthritis. What are you going to do? I'm getting older. And so that bar in their life has been lowered. And that makes my stomach churn.
Would you call that within standard of care? Meaning they're receiving of the standard of care from provider, from what it is they could potentially try on or go on beyond, or even to say, like, you know what? I agree with you. Like, I'll never forget this. I had a rehab assignment in Myrtle. And when I was there, patient didn't want to go home on blood thinners, didn't like needles. And you know what? Common thing. You're right. Still within healthcare. I still don't know what to do. Even since I was a kid, they haven't done much. Still around the same thing for some reason. But I said to her, I was like, there's research that like you are mobile. You have been mobile. Cool. And we've been documenting that. I was like, do you really want to go home on this? And she said, no. I was like, then I'm going to chart it. We're going to see what happens. And it came to the point where the provider that he had, he was like, nope, it's 28 days post. And this is a totally different, I know part of health, this is me taking this on, but he was like, it shows here for blood clots, 28 days. And I said, I get it, but your patient's preference here. And this was an empowered patient speaking up for herself. I'd been there. That's what I had seen. And I was like, let's invent this as a possibility. The very most, I'm taking this on for the patient. And that patient ended up going home on ibuprofen. And I didn't hear anything since. Matter of fact, I heard the DON had a conversation, the unit manager on the floor had a conversation with the doctor who had said that because it was patient preference. So it's amazing to see with choice, seeing if what I got from what you're saying is it's almost as if their lens has been made. I see it as lenses. Their lenses have been made cloudy when yet they would have seen a clear picture first. Then you can continue to have what I would call your vision of life, right?
In a way, I agree with you in parts.
Yeah.
Here's the bigger picture, though, too. Remember that packet of information. So a medical doctor, and I have good friends that are medical doctors. My stepbrother's a medical doctor. I have a wide medical background. They know chemistry. That's what they know. That is what they're taught. Now, I have studied Kepler, Tesla, Newton, et cetera, et cetera. None of them ever solved a physics equation with a chemical solution. Yet that is what we are demanding from our healthcare solution. With our musculoskeletal system, it is a physics problem. There is no way around that. And yet we are going to a chemist and saying, fix us. The closest solution they had was narcotics, and it did alleviate pain. However, we started creating drug addicts. And so that became that was not the solution we should go with. And ever since then, they've been struggling. We do steroids. We're now injecting Botox for chronic migraine.
I can't tell you how many conversations with people within my social structure are talking about these steroid shots. I'm not even kidding. You're right. And they're like, that's the first thing that insurance is saying to do. And I'm like, what? Like, there's got to be something else. There must be more than this.
But they don't know more than this because they were given the packet of information, which included chemistry.
Correct.
So let's get back to and I could go on with physical
therapy.
Yeah,
I don't doubt it. Yeah, what's happening in healthcare? Yeah, what's happening? Yeah, we could even venture into that. And then I had couple other questions for you too. I wanted to get those. But yeah, go right ahead.
But here's the thing. See, Brett, I am a very, very intelligent man. And the reason why is because I know there is so much that I don't know. And so I'm always inquisitive. I am always observant. Now, if the solution to chronic musculoskeletal pain was on having better solutions, we would have found it by now. We're going to Mars. I mean, look at what we do with diagnostics in the healthcare industry. Look at all the technology advances we have made. So if it was a question of having the good solution, we would have found it by now. Yeah. There are smart people out there.
There was I never throwing out quotes. There was the Aldous Huxley quote that was also commented too. It's yes, that was true. The medical field has made such a huge advancements. There's hardly a healthy human left, and we're getting to that point. That was my declaration too. That's me saying that. Wow. Yeah. I did have a couple questions. Go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, let me just tie up this thought and we'll go.
You're good.
So here is the thing. It wasn't the solutions that we couldn't fix. We never looked at the problem correctly. Chronic musculoskeletal pain is caused by the brain. The brain controls how we stand, how we move, millisecond by millisecond. And whenever you go to a doctor, let's say you have a bad knee, they're bending down, touching your knee, feeling your knee, and they don't even think of the brain. The problem with chronic musculoskeletal pain and why we've never solved it is we have never looked at the brain's role in it. We've been looking at the problem incorrectly. That's the deal.
Wow.
All right. Now ask me your
question. even the interesting part I'm getting into this, now I'm tying off of that. It's all right, is there's a book I'm reading. It's called Burnout. And in it, one of the author wrote, she had said, if we wanted to build, and this was in regards to another, I think it's the overall system. If we wanted to build an inefficient system, we've done a damn good job. in certain areas. And it's interesting to see when those, and a lot of it is a conversation to be had, because it's amazing too, even for me with Empowera, looking into other areas for alternative health and wellness than what is currently out there. It's amazing what's come out of that. And it's a common conversation that's out there that people have been having even since I can remember as a kid. So like, and people have been looking in whatever way it's come out, whether it's aromatherapy, whether it's even just not going into the medical system. Not to say that there isn't, life's about balance, I feel, like anything. So, and you have homeostasis is another area. And I think the homeostasis of nature kind of mimics what we could hopefully hope to achieve too. But like anything, there's no perfect equilibrium too. So, but I get that. Okay. I didn't know if you wanted to, in your opinion, what are some of the most significant challenges you think that are facing us when it comes to that integration of potential like technologies and innovations, and how could they potentially be addressed now, and what's potentially out there that you know of that maybe you want to introduce?
Sure.
Yeah.
So let's start with the first problem, and it is the major problem. People don't sit down and think, but they need to think about this one. We are relying on an industry that needs to make money and make profit. Their industry is built upon us being unwell. Yet we go to them to make us well. So in a court of law, that would be a conflict of interest, and the lawyer would be taken off the case, or the judge. Here, we don't even question it. Now, I'm not saying as individual doctors, but let's talk about an industry. I have talked to scientists who work on drug development, R&D, and one told me, and obviously I'm not going to mention names, but one said, Dan, see, we don't get raises and we don't get promotions from finding a drug that cures something. We get raises, promotions, and bonuses by finding a drug that improves something, but you need to be on it the rest of your life. That is where the real money is. So we have to understand the system in which we're working in. Now, to improve this, as a population, as a public, we have to say, no, this is wrong. This is wrong. We need to get those solutions that, by the way, are out there. I have the solution for chronic pain. It's vibration, and we can get into that later. But as a general public, we need to look at the system we're in and say, well, this is messed up.
Declare it. Right.
Yeah.
We can come to declarations on
bartender.
Wow. Yeah.
For advice. Right. But that's what we're doing in healthcare. So we have to see that they have a vested interest as an industry, not as an individual practitioner. Remember, I'm not painting with a broad brush.
Yeah.
We need to reform the system. How much is enough? You take a look at the Forbes top 50, you're going to find health insurance companies, pharmaceutical industry. It's not controversial. They're there. Take a look. You'll find them. So we have to understand that our system is askew. And we need to not allow it to happen anymore without pushback. And this is where it gets tough to say the emperor wears no clothes. With that being said, then, we need to encourage research, development. Hey, I'm plumb broke. Why? Because I'm doing this on my own. I don't have a pharmaceutical.
You're not alone, and I get it. You're right. It's amazing the distinctions and the people who are trying to make these improvements, and how difficult I feel if there is a campaign for it. And I'm not here to declare whether or not there is. I feel there may be for it, even on social media, and sometimes when I've said certain things, mentioning alternative health and wellness and seeing what people are up against. And you're freedom of speech. I'm fine with that. But it's amazing to see what that looks like when it comes to potential rationale and which side has it when it comes to that, I guess. So, wow. I wanted to, you did mention a little bit with vibration. Didn't know, because I've also done research for those who haven't checked out, and I can drop this down below if you haven't looked. And if you're listening to this, it'll be down on what's called the doobly-doo on YouTube, or in the summary here as you're listening. But I'd mentioned you do have a project called Vibrate Away. And I didn't know if you could kind of say, like, what kind of inspired you to develop it? How did you envision it being integrated into the mainstream healthcare practices in the future? Just to kind of start off.
Sure. So basically, with my research, I had realized that the brain controls the musculoskeletal system. And we have a nervous system called proprioception. So if anybody has been on a boat out on a lake and you get a swell, we rock with the boat, right? We rock with the boat. We don't fall over. That's the proprioceptive nervous system in action. And you have hundreds of millions of these in your skin, your muscles, your joints, always telling your brain where your body is in time and space. When you feel pain in an area, you cannot feel that proprioception anymore. So if I stub the baby toe on my right foot, my brain that controls my body, that part of it says, oh, good golly, I've just lost my right foot, because it can't feel it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So now the brain has to make accommodations to your body, because the brain doesn't want you to be unstable. It doesn't want you to fall down. So it's got to change your body so that you're stable.
Mm-hmm.
And these are what we call accommodations. And so accommodations never go away. None of us have ever realized that in healthcare. The research is out there, but none of us put it all together. And so what happens is we want to blame an old injury from 10, 15, 20 years ago. How many times have you heard people, well, it's...
Oh, yeah. Oh, no. Yep. They bring it up. Yeah. They bring up the past injuries. Yeah.
Well, I've never cut my hand and bled for 10 years. It's resolved. Tissue on the inside heals at about the same rate. It's a little slower, but not 10 years worth. Yet we always attack the old injury. It's not the old injury. It's the accommodation to that injury. So to get rid of chronic pain, what we have to do is to tell the brain to get rid of the accommodation. Quit doing that. And how you do it is vibration to the body to stimulate the proprioceptive nervous system, the one that tells the brain where I am in time and space.
Yeah.
And based on that stimulus, the brain starts changing my body. It brings my posture back. It makes my movement pure. See, the brain is the most powerful thing in the world, more powerful than any computer.
Yep. It's still to this day, they have not found a limit to the long-term memory of the human brain. We have with computers, but not to the human brain yet.
Absolutely.
What also was interesting that I got from what you shared is, and something I even learned back in nursing school was, and most people don't know this, at least in the United States, our government didn't start pumping funding into brain research until the 90s. And I found out, I created a possibility before Empowera of enrolling into a welding class. I learned there in the OSHA that back in the 80s with welders, that's when they were finally looking into the health of welders. So it's seeing this transition in different parts of healthcare too, with the intra-patient experience when you have a loved one or social structure. They're all connected too, right? Mm-hmm. And it's amazing to see that they're a lot of it can be balance. A lot of these can be it ties from your brain, because we're looking everywhere else. Where is everything else connected? And I mean, they're all connected. What was the one thing I'll never forget? Her name is Dr. Sue Hines. She taught at the University of Akron, and I remember on the first day, said to all of us, "What is the most important organ in the body?" And we're all raising our hands, thinking we knew what it was. All wrong. And then finally, she goes, "There isn't one," and we're all like, "Oh, okay." But even tying together in that,
yeah. Right. And to answer, Vibrate Away is the name of the company. My technique is neuromuscular resonance. And that we do with the vibration. And so what happens is that vibration stimulates the proprioceptive nerves to make the brain change my posture and movement. That's what we do when we're on a boat. That's what we do when we get injured.
Right.
And so all I'm doing is telling the brain to undo it, because the brain won't unless it's shown that it should. And that's it. It's very simple. And here's the problem with Vibrate Away. It doesn't make huge money. See, we have corporate interests that are making profit off of us being unwell. Mm-hmm. Vibration is cheap and easy. And I have created the system so that anybody can do it to anybody else.
Yeah, I've seen the videos on your Facebook too. You literally, when one of the trips, I did see it was in Kenya. I do want to get to that too. But was you not only showed them, at least in the video, you heard whatever was being mentioned as whatever was happening in their own quality of life and homeostasis. And not only did you show the technique, but then I even saw just general members of the public. You could even step away, which is, yes. If I can really get into this, you know what it kind of reminded me of when I saw that in the video? It reminded me of learning about the SOFA technique back in the class I almost didn't pass. In the class that I almost didn't pass nursing school for, intensive care, and was learning about how a group of doctors got together and they said, you know what? We don't have the equipment, but we know that sepsis is bad. So let's see what it is we can do to keep this simple so we can possibly solve one of the largest problems All right. And then I didn't know if you could take some time, if we could share a personal story from your trip to Kenya that would highlight the impact that vibrational resonance had on the local community there.
Absolutely. The reason why we went to Kenya was numerous. One of the reasons why I was passionate about going to Kenya is one, Kenyans and all of Africa, the economics of healthcare do not pan out in their favor. And so what they have is limited and very basic. And it was a passion of mine to be able to provide for them a resource that could help, that is pretty inexpensive to do. The other thing is I wanted to go to a place to do my technique where there was no biases, that there was no big money behind anything. See, here, for a technique or a device to make it, there's two criteria. It has to be viable and it has to be profitable. In a third world nation or a social medicine structure, it has to be viable and it also has to be cost containment friendly.
Now, can you tell us a little bit about that distinction there? You said it was a social, that distinction, just for viewers, the difference in the health system, it sounded like.
Yeah, well, like whenever you want to develop a new technique or a device and you want to get it out into the marketplace wherever you are.
Absolutely.
If you are in a profit model of healthcare, there's two criteria that you must meet. One, it must be viable. It can be done. Second, it better be profitable. It better make money for whoever is interested.
Okay, got that.
When you go to a third world nation or a social medicine structure, the two criteria you have to get into is it viable and is it cost containment friendly? Now, obviously, you meet resistance here because one, it's new, we've had this system forever, and it's a profit model. So when I went to Kenya, I wanted to see how this would fly in the second scenario.
Yeah.
I saw over 540 patients in a matter of a week and a half.
Wow.
The results I got were phenomenal. And just one or two visits, we had taken care of chronic pain that was been around for 20, 30, 40 years.
Or that had a story somewhere within the system, right? Yeah, I get you. Yeah.
And the biggest takeaway from this actually happened on my return. I have been kind of staying off of Facebook because I have been inundated with people that want me to see them, with people who want to get certified in how to do our technique. I can't tell you how many requests I've had of people saying, teach me how to do this so I can do it. That has been the biggest shock and the biggest surprise and the biggest joy to my heart is right now, I wish I could clone 10 or 12 of me to send over to Kenya to teach.
I get that.
So I can show them how to do this. Now, in my book, Escaping the Pain Matrix, I have those techniques. All you have to do is look at a book. And you can do it to yourself, to your loved ones. Then if you want to do it professionally or in whatever context you want, we have a certification program. And it's roughly, it's a 4-module, probably about an 18-hour course where you can learn all the ins and outs. I've already done the hard work. I've spent the 10,000 hours. I've spent the 10 years. Yep. I'm a 10-year overnight sensation. I really am. But
you have a package. I get it. No, I get it though. If people are interested in doing, you guys do have a specialist certification.
Yeah,
you do
absolutely. Because I see right now, I just want to spread it across the world. See, one of the things is too, not only are we trying to redefine the old paradigm of healthcare or the matrix, breaking out of that, but we're also doing it for a company. See, my wife, Jessica, runs the company Vibrational. I am the science guy. I'm the guy jet setting everywhere. But what we want to do with our company is to change what it is to be a part of a company. See, for us, enough is enough. We're not about profit. I'm not going to sit here and say, man, everybody's worried about profit, and so they're not doing anything. And then all of a sudden, my company run it for profit, or Jessica's company run it for profit. No, we are spreading abundance of living, of your body, feeling pain-free, the joy of helping others, the joy of having financial abundance. It's all about abundance. And so many of us think abundance equals money. Not necessarily. Not at all.
Hell of a distinction. You're exactly right. It's I feel if I can offer this, money is a conversation. And it's funny because we made it up in history as humans. We made it up, and it's a conversation. And if I can even break it down, I had a conversation with one of the contractors who, if they're listening to, who's working very hard to help keep Empowera running up 24/7, along with also our business associate too. I like to mention too, JP&A, because we are now international and 24/7. So if you're ever curious with Empower, you can also email us. I know I stuck this in this part, but I just wanted to make sure we all know that, because it's amazing to see the possibilities that can be invented out of not doing it alone, but together too. And it's, yeah, go ahead. Right.
It is. We're all together. And I'm sorry to have interrupted.
No, absolutely. Nothing wrong here. Yeah.
And here's what's neat is the impact that you get, you don't see. I had a young lady call me via this actually through Facebook, and she's from Kenya, and she Nairobi. It's the capital of Kenya.
Okay.
Where I was on the other part of Kenya, near the Ugandan border.
Okay.
And she said, my mother came to you and you healed her, and she had mentioned that you were going to teach people how to do this. She goes, I want to do this. Can you please teach me? And that is the impact. See, one of the greatest feelings in the world, and this is more addictive than any kind of narcotic or drug out there. Trust me, brother, I'm hooked. And that is helping someone to change their life. Until something else happened to me. What is even more addicting is that someone else changed someone else's life because of what I did in the beginning. And I'm addicted to that.
Mm-hmm. Can I offer that? It's a quote I had heard in history too, and it's true. It means you're an artist. The other thing too is I think regardless of whether you're a nurse or you have any other acronym, it means you're an artist of your trade. We've kind of forgotten that, I think, in language. But one of the things that really resonated with me when you had told me that was, I'm trying to remember it now. Here, hold on. It was really interesting. You had said, could you repeat it again? I'm sorry. Yeah.
About how it's addicting to be able to.
That's it. Yep, I got it. Nope, that's all I needed. You got it. Thank you. Okay, so it's not the true sign of an artist, and people may not like him because of him, but it's just him. It's a quote. But Salvador Dali had said the true sign of an artist is not to be inspired; it is to inspire others. And that's the discipline in and of itself. You could even be the best artist in what it is you're doing, like you're saying. But I think the truest reward is not being able to do it yourself. It's literally being able to see that another has been able to be inspired to not only maybe do that, but maybe even something else. Like totally different.
Yeah, absolutely. And actually, if I may jump in here.
Absolutely. Right.
You just now brought me to a point that's huge with me. We are all born who we are. And it seems like the moment that we start to get a consciousness, we begin to try to change who we are so that we either fit in or that more people will like us. And we begin to lose ourselves. Then we let fear come in. To go through life, no matter what we do, getting a packet. Oh, you want to do this? Here, you got to know this. Here, you got to do this. Oh, you want to be popular? Here, you got to do this. That is so wrong. And by limiting who we are from the beginning, we limit all the things that we can be or all the things that can come to us. And we walk down a narrow road complaining about what can't be and how bad life is and why does bad luck happen. It's because we have denied who we are. Be you. God made you. He doesn't make mistakes. Be you.
Yep.
Embrace it.
I agree with you. There's that distinction of knowledge and action. There's the knowledge that you can know to know about everybody else. You could have, and I've said this before sometimes, but you could have 12 different libraries in 6 different countries, and you can have all that knowledge. But when it comes time, does it do any good if there's no action? They go hand in hand, I find, at least in my experience.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Wow.
And when you know yourself, then no one can lie to you about you. See, I don't accept any criticism unless it's valid. And if it's not, then I don't pay attention to it because I know who I am. I know I'm a good person. I know what I do wrong in life. I wish I was less critical. I wish maybe sometimes I was more patient. I know those are me, but that's me. It's the whole ball of wax.
Yeah.
And one of the things I always say to Jessica is, I love you not despite your flaws, but because of your flaws. The flaws are what makes us us. And so instead of running from them and hiding them up, embrace them.
That's the juice. That's the juice of you. Yeah, it is.
And then that gives you the courage to be, see, and do. You know what? I've taken my shots on this thing. I have taken my shots over this. But you know what? It doesn't affect me one iota. I know I'm right.
I have two questions.
What I'm doing is for the world.
I have two questions out of what it is then. With this and where the sense of being that you are in, then, do you find yourself in a life that you love? That's Absolutely. The first question. Second question, then also, do you find yourself in a life worth living?
Absolutely.
Then I have no further questions.
I love it.
Because it's a feeling. To be in that is a feeling, and you know it when you know it. And it's amazing, like you said, to know yourself is there may be those that challenge you, but I think the greatest one that may challenge you is yourself as well. So it's nice also to go beyond yourself and see those others that maybe can bring you back to baseline or reaffirm whoever they are, even me, you know? So, wow.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. You know, what I always find is that if you want to show true love to someone, you help them be their true selves. And if that comes to your detriment, so what? Mm-hmm. If you truly love them, you will help them truly be themselves. And I want people to truly be pain-free. I want them to have the courage to demand more from life and not shortchange themselves. Don't let somebody lower your bar just because they're wearing a white jacket and a stethoscope.
Yeah, don't let pain be your baseline either. Like, there's still quality of life. There's walks on the beach. There's vacations out there. We have AI already right now going through and making sure we can't get good deals on airplane tickets. And that's going to change again now soon too, because that's not cool. Because we still have people retiring in the cycle parts of life. Regardless of what research is saying, if we live longer or whatnot, we still have that part. And some people, you're right. It's that daily, and it's a mindset. First of all, let me have my pain. Oh, wait, afternoon? Okay, yeah, pain's still there. What about that bicycle ride you wanted to go on if that's what you wanted to do? What about the walk you wanted to go on with your loved one or your grandchild or your niece or nephew? You know, same kind of a thing. Or daughter, son, any of them. Fill in the or anybody of your social structure in whatever way it comes out. But yeah, I mean... And pain's just one of them. And even that's the other part too. I don't know how you felt when you heard this one, but pain is whatever the patient says it is, which is what I was taught too. And it's amazing to see they are saying what it is they're saying, but going upon what we had mentioned too, what basis do they have or structure for success do they see to really, I guess, to audit their own pain, seeing as, yeah, that's really it. Giving them their own ability to be an advocate and audit their own pain. Yeah. Wow. I get it. Wow. All right. Well, I didn't know if you wanted to go ahead. We are approaching the end. Again, folks, if you could please like, follow, subscribe, share, go ahead and check out the bio link too. But I didn't know if you wanted to go ahead here. If you have any empowering pieces of advice for anybody maybe looking to go into chiropractic or into vibrational resonance or even any other practices. And then I didn't know if you wanted to close us with our empowering quote.
I will do all of this. Sure. First off, I'm not even practicing chiropractic anymore. It's all about the vibrational.
To get clear too with everybody else, it is all about vibrational resonance from here on out. Got it.
It has nothing to do with chiropractic.
Yep.
But that, you know, because I was a chiropractor, that makes sense. Mm-hmm. But here's my piece of advice: no matter what, be you. And only associate, whether it's through professional means or your friends, only associate with those who want to raise your bar with you. Never, ever settle for someone to lower your bar. It can always be raised in life. The vibrational frequency of us being as one can be raised by this. I am more concerned, Brent, that I help your show than what you help me. I could care less what this does for me. I don't mean that flippantly.
No, I get it.
But yeah, I want to make sure that I'm helping you. That's the only reason why I'm doing this. Why? Because I care about you and I want to raise you. And if we could all go around raising each other, wow, what a world.
Mm-hmm.
What a world.
Not even to mention all the inspiration that it comes out of that too. That there's more than just that. There's multiple buckets that come from one big bucket, just freaking just going all over the place.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Now I'm going to give you two quotes because with me innovating and creating a technique that will solve the chronic pain problem. They asked Henry Ford, did he seek people's advice to create the car? And he said, had I asked the people, they would have only have asked for a faster horse. And that follows up my second quote, and it's by Stephen Jeffers. And I'm going to read this because I always paraphrase. I might mess it up.
You're all right.
Innovation is the unrelenting drive to break the status quo and to develop anew where few of us dare to go. And that's what this is all about. You know, there isn't a better drug. There isn't a better technique. The solution on the solution side. But by me saying, you know what, let's look at the problem. We're not looking at the problem. I dared to go where nobody else has gone yet. And honestly, I couldn't believe that I was the first, but it looks like I was.
Wow.
Yeah.
Folks, this has been episode 47. Thank you for this empowering episode, Daniel. And if you go ahead and we'll drop all his information down in the summary. Thank you all for being here. And also shout outs to our new subscribers, which have come on as well. Thank you, everybody, for coming. We appreciate it. And closing off here, thank you very much again.
Thank you.
All right, bye for now.